Good evening, YouTube. It's Man on Radio's page. Coming to you live on YouTube. Well, I've been kind of busy doing some stuff, and you know what? I saw this while I was on Facebook. I was just flipping it around, and I saw a couple of birthdays that need to be announced. And these are two guys who are legends in their own rights, legends in their own fields. They're truly stars of stage, screen, and television. I mean, they're all three, but they're from different genres. One is more dramatic, the other one's more comedic. But they have done their fair shares of both comedy and drama. And they're amazing men, great actors, great performers. I mean, I've been watching them for years, and they are just good examples of great performers, and great men. Now, right here we have one Mr. Forrest Whitaker, and over here we have one Mr. Eddie Griffith. And this is an opportunity to recognize these gentlemen on their day of birth. Now, right here we have one Mr. Forrest Stephen Whitaker, who was born July 15, 1961, in Longview, Texas, USA. Now, Forrest, he grew up in pretty much like any other kid. He was the son of Laura and Francis, an educator. Not much known about his father. It's not a lot. He really got his father, Forrest E. Whitaker Jr. was an insurance salesman. He just really had a talent for acting. He did some acting when he was younger, and then he went to California to study school. But later on, he started his career in the good part of the 80s. Now, he was in quite a few movies. His first movies was a movie called Tag, and it was not that well known. But the movie that most people recognize him for is the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I remember him. He played Charles Jefferson, who was a football star. And in the movie, if any of you like me, who was born between the good part of the 70s or the 80s, who remember this movie, there's a part in the movie where the character Sean Penn, who played, I forgot the character's name, and Forrest Whitaker's character, younger brother, were driving around his car, and they crashed the car. So the brother didn't want to get in trouble with his big brother Jefferson, Charles. They take and spray painted the car like the other team, the Lincoln High team, did it themselves. And you remember in the movie, he was just killing those guys. I mean, it's funny. It's a classic. I got fun. Just got to pull up Fast Time at Ridgemont High. It's a classic. Some of these movies are great. And then he went on and did some more movies. He also did another classic, which is the movie Platoon. And it starred, Charlie Sheen, Tom Berenger, William Dafoe, a lot of actors who are legends now today was in that movie. It was pretty much an ensemble cast. And then he was pretty steady in the 80s. He did craft for more movies like Stakeout, Good Morning Vietnam. He was in the movie Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme. He did a movie Bird, which was the tour debut of Clint Eastwood. Also, there was a movie Downtown. I remember he did that a long time ago. That was a great movie. I like that. It was a classic. And then in the 90s, he did the movie Rage in Harlem with Gregory Hines. The Crying Game. And here's about The Crying Game. This is a black man from Texas doing an excellent English accent. I mean, you wouldn't think, the brother, he's from Texas and his English accent was almost on point. I mean, I'm not an expert. And then he did some more movies in the 90s, such as Blown Away, Jason Lyric, Species. I mean, he had a series of some great movies, some classics, some not as well known. And also in 98, he did one of we call it a hip hop movie. I mean, more like, I think the hip hop generation really loved this movie. And that was the movie Ghost Star, where he was the way of the samurai. He was like a hood samurai. And, there's a part in the movie where he's walking down the street and he runs into the RZA and they bow to each other, and, the Wu-Tang was very much into Kung Fu stuff and the Asian culture. And, that was a great movie. He did quite for more movies. And he also directed the movie Waiting to Exhale. I said, I didn't know that. I didn't really watch chick movies like that. I like, I'm a big fan of Angela Bassett. I like her, and and some of these other ladies. But it was more my sisters them liked those movies more than I did. And he also one of the movies that really changed his career was the movie The Last King of Scotland, which is a movie about the late dictator Idi Amin. And he earned his first Oscar in that movie. I mean, he got several. Over the years, he had several nominations, several awards. Here, he did TV. He had several TV roles over his career. Most notably, he did a season of the series of Shield with Michael Chiklis, and also he did the short-lived series Criminal Minds, which was the spinoff series. It was I forgot what name it was. What was the name of the series? A spinoff. I forgot the name it. It was Criminal Minds. I forget. It was so long time ago. It was short lived. It didn't last long. And he's been pretty steady as an actor. I remember also he did voiceover for series like American Dad and other stuff. And he even he just had a list of movies. And he was in the movie also, the Lee Daniels movie, the Butler, and then he said he won many awards, as Oscars and Image Awards, the WCP Awards. I mean, nominations and everything like that. And plus, he did movies like Taken 3, and also he did 2 movies which is under the Disney flag, which is he was in the movie Rogue One, A Jedi Story. And also he played Zori in the movie Black Panther. And I saw that movie. It was a great movie. And rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. And I'm saying I just forget. I'm here right now doing this. We need to get another actor to play the Black Panther, play T'Challa. I know that we're trying to push the idea of maybe Shuri, the sister for Black Panther. That's good for now. But we need another actor to play the role. But that's just me. Now, Eddie Griffin, as you know, he's just a great comedian. Born Edward Reuben Griffin in Kansas City, Missouri, July 15th of 1968. Now, Eddie was raised by his mother, Doris. And, it's not much of it. Like I said, this is why I forgot. Why I was there with Forrest. I was made a mistake with Eddie. I was thinking there's not much about his father. I think him and his father were kind of on and off relationship. But Eddie was like a really talented kid, one point he was enlisted into the Navy, but he was discharged after using marijuana. And that's the thing about Eddie. Eddie's crazy. He started his career about the late 90s. He did a lot of open mic stuff. He hopped around. And then he got recruited, by actor and comedian Andrew Dice Clay. And, you remember the Clay Man, he was, Dice Man, he was, very controversial comedian, but very funny. You used to like to watch his stuff. I mean, and he started his career in doing a lot of stand-up, a lot of other stuff. And then by the 90s, he was already getting into movies. He was in movies such as The Meteor Man, and there was other movies such as Foolish. You remember that movie with Master P and the great Marla Gibbs. Just a list of movies like Urban, just a list of movies he had done. Also small roles in John Q and what was that? What's the movie? The movie The Meteor. I'm trying to remember that movie. What's that name of that movie? I know that name of that movie. The movie The Meteor. Let me look here. I'm looking through Wikipedia like this, but it was one of those great movies. Deuce Bigelow, Mel Gigolo. And then in around 2000, he was around the late 90s. He was in the series Eddie and Malcolm with actor, Malcolm Warner. As you remember, this was on the UPN series, which was UPN and WB had the most black sitcoms than any other networks, more than Fox. And then he started the movie Undercover Brother around, later in the early 2000s. And this was a great movie. I like Undercover Brother. There was a sequel they made with Michael Jai White, but that was a bad mistake. It was another movie. Should have called Undercover Brother 2. You don't have Eddie Griffin as Undercover Brother. And then he also got to work with another Eddie Griffin, in the movie Norbit. I know it was one of Eddie's, not just one of his best movies, but it was a great opportunity to work with somebody like Eddie and also Cat Williams, who he knows he was doing stand up. And also there was a movie called Date Night, not well known big movie, and he has done stand up for a long time. Do specials. I mean, he just has just a series of stuff he did, and all the movies he did over his time. And Eddie is one of those funny guys, and he often say like, why he didn't get as big as some of the others, but you know how it is. Hollywood has their pick of favorite. You still had the Martin Lawrences, you still had Eddie Murphy, you still so many other Kevin Hart, so many other actors who just had that certain qualities. But Eddie, he just was more of a stand-up guy. And around about the 2000s, later 2000s, he had a short-lived series called Eddie Griffin Going for Broke, and it was a series where he talked about his his time, his struggles, his trying to get bounce back. His mother, Doris, was on the series. She made appearances. It was a pretty funny show. He also did shows like The Boondocks, Chappelle's Show. I mean, it's just a list of series working. He also did voiceovers, and he was just one of these great guys. I mean, he still was doing some stand up. Was it around about the a few years back? He was doing stand up with his little group with him. It was him, Dela Hewley, Cedric Taylor, Joe Lopez, and the late Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy, and it was kind of like a revamp of the Kings of Comedy. I think he was kind of taking the place of kind of a bit of Bernie Mac, I would say, in a way. And I think at one point Lopez or either Charlie had to drop out because I think that's one time Charlie was going through his issues with cancer. But here's one thing about these two men: they have some movies in common. They both did Vietnam-based movies, as I said. Forrest did Good Morning Vietnam and Platoon, and also Eddie did a movie called The Walking Dead around about the 90s, which is also another Vietnam movie with Alan Payne and Joe Morton. Not a well-known movie, but I remember seeing it was a good movie. And also they share a movie, Jason Lyrics. I remember that was a pretty movie. Remember that Forrest's character played the father who was he was ex-Vietnam vet. He was crazy, and Eddie was one of the friends to Alan Payne's character. Him and Alan Payne worked together quite a bit. Now, Forrest, when it was time doing the movie, The Last King of Scotland, he really does some work for Africa, some charity work, especially around the Ghanese and Sudan area. And he's a big activist. He's really supporting of Black culture, Asian culture. I mean, he's just one of these great guys. He's been an activist for support of anything, especially our people. That's why I'm doing this video about him. And Eddie, he supported Bill Cosby. Maybe people don't like it, but you know what? When Bill Cosby has been your idol, and you're gonna support him. You don't like it, that's you. I respect Eddie standing by somebody he respects. That's what you should do. But like I said, Eddie's still doing stand up. You can catch some of the stuff. Usually, I think he's does specials, a few specials for HBO. I think some stuff. He might even do some concerts every now and then. He still travels. So, I don't know about any movies or stuff anytime soon. He might be doing something if you don't get the right contract and somebody want to give him an opportunity to pop out there. What it should have did was they need to do a Undercover Brother 2. That other one, just forget about it and just really kind of just forget that other Undercover Brother. Bring back Eddie as a true Undercover Brother. And Forrest, as you know, he's doing the series, The Godfather of Harlem. It's a story about the late Bumpy Robinson. Bumpy was a big-time gangster around about the good part of the 60s. He started his career around about the, the 40s? He was a, who was he? He was like one of those, remember, he was one of the big-time black mobsters back then. Bumpy Robinson did a lot of stuff. And a lot of people, remember Denzel Washington's character, that movie that he did about, he was a protege of Bumpy Robinson. And you know what? They're both fathers, loving fathers. Forrest was married. He recently just got divorced from his wife. He has 4 daughters, and he loves and takes care of his daughters. He's just a great doting father. And Eddie, he has multiple children. He has multiple baby mamas. He's currently with his new baby mama and his new baby. I mean, the guy has. I remember he was doing this movie, his TV series, Going for Broke. You know, he talked about his multiple baby mamas and multiple kids, but he loves them all and he supports them all. You know, he supports his family. Period. And one thing about Forest Whitaker, I remember I gotta put this in here. You know, when Bernie Mac was in the movie Don't Be a Menace in South Central while drinking your juice in the hood, you know, the back of Forest Whitaker's neck. That's so funny. I mean, you know, you got him. You mean, you know, he back and forth with his neck. I mean, you know, he looked like hot dogs, burnt hot dogs. I mean, that just. I'm sorry, no disrespect to Mr. Whitaker, no disrespect, but that's just funny. I mean, Bernie Mac was so great. I mean, he's just a great comedian, a great legend. I had to put this in. I had to put that in. But like I said, I hope these gentlemen are enjoying their birthdays with their families, their friends. I'm hoping maybe we get to see more of them in the future. I think Forrest most definitely has a series on I think it's on Netflix, you know, and there's probably some movies got, you know, in the whole form, you know. It could be a chance that we might see his character pop in an upcoming Black Panther movie, you know, with flashbacks, because, you know, he got killed in that movie. Remember, Killmonger killed him, but he can pop up in flashbacks. And also, you know, Eddie, you know, he's busy with stand-up. And he's generally one of these guys, like some guys that do stand up, they do movies, they go back to stand up because that's their thing, that's their niche. And I think Eddie's funny. You know, he's just one of these. I mean, I remember he can do a great Sammy Davis Jr. I remember in the movie Foolish, he could do Robin Harris, and you know, his impersonations are just by on point. And I'm just a fan of both these gentlemen, and that's why I had to do a movie. That's why I did this video to wish them a very, very, very happy birthday and many, many more. You see me on the George page. Don't like, subscribe. Don't subscribe. I'm out.